The things beneath the waves. They didn't come from the sky. They were already here. At exactly 2:14 a.m., a U.S. naval destroyer in the Pacific lost all power. Not a glitch, not partial failure, total blackout. For 9 seconds, sonar operators heard a sound one of them later described as the ocean screaming through steel. Then, from nearly 4 kilometers beneath the hull, something accelerated straight upward faster than any weapon ever built. No splash, no explosion, no wake. Only one sentence escaped the ship before every system died. Contact did not originate from the sky. One junior sonar operator collapsed at his station. His name was Ethan Cole, and he would spend the rest of his life trying to forget what he saw next. The lie of the empty ocean. The ocean covers more than 70% of our planet, yet we have mapped the surface of Mars in greater detail than the deepest parts of our own seas. We pour billions into space exploration while knowing almost nothing about what moves beneath the waves. For decades, something has been detected underwater. Not drifting, not visiting, operating. And tonight, you're going to understand why a growing number of analysts now believe the first non-human intelligence humanity openly confronts will not arrive from the stars, but rise from the depths of our own oceans. The impossible sonar contact. Ethan had been on shift for 5 hours when the blur appeared on his screen. At first, he assumed interference, thermal distortion, background noise, faulty equipment. Then the blur changed direction with deliberate control. The object appeared at a depth of 3,800 meters, where pressure cripples steel, and even nuclear submarines strain to survive. It paused. Then it accelerated. In less than 2 seconds, it traveled straight upward, faster than any torpedo ever built, without cavitation, without turbulence, without heat. Physics didn't bend, it was ignored. Ethan watched the contact surge toward the surface and vanish. No breach, no disturbance, no trace. The officer beside him whispered one word: impossible. The incident was later reduced to a single classification line: unidentified transmedium contact. Ethan collapsed moments later. When he woke in a military hospital, a non-disclosure agreement was waiting on his bed. Decades of whispers. This was not the first encounter. For centuries, sailors whispered about things in the water, shadows pacing beneath ships, lights rising from depths where nothing should survive, objects matching submarines mile for mile, then plunging straight into black nothingness. For years, these reports were dismissed as fear, until they became data. By the early 2000s, anomalous underwater contacts were being logged across every major ocean. Same behavior, same impossible speed, same silent disappearance. Inside restricted briefings, analysts stopped calling these objects craft. They started calling them operators. Because whatever they weren't wandering. They were working. The glass seafloor incident. In 2019, a research submarine descended near the edge of the Bermuda region. At 5,000 meters, its lights revealed something half buried in sediment. Smooth, curved, reflective, not coral, not rock, not any known metal. As the sub approached, the object activated. Geometric light patterns rippled across its surface. The surrounding water began to vibrate. Then every system inside the sub failed. Total blackout. Power returned exactly 23 seconds later. The object was gone. In its place, the ocean floor had been melted into smooth glass. When the crew surfaced, military personnel were already waiting. The site was sealed, the footage seized. The official explanation: thermal vent activity. But thermal vents do not activate, and they do not vanish. The day the ocean opened, early 2024, civilian satellites over the Indian Ocean detected a massive circular void forming on the surface of the sea. For 9 seconds, the water folded inward like opening an eye. Then something rose. It didn't displace water. It didn't create spray. It passed through the surface. Radars across 3 countries activated simultaneously. Fighter jets were launched. But when they arrived, the sky was empty. The public explanation: sensor malfunction. What was never shown publicly was the thermal overlay. As the object ascended, the ocean floor beneath it briefly glowed, as if a massive structure had powered on. For the first time, intelligence agencies quietly added a new label: Underwater Origin UAP. The silent zones. There are places in the ocean navies quietly avoid, zones where sonar goes blind, where compasses spin without explanation. One of the most feared lies in the South Atlantic. In 2025, an unmanned drone was sent into this region. At 9,200 meters, its camera revealed something that triggered emergency lockdowns across multiple agencies: a structure.
Artificial, symmetrical, enormous. Then the structure moved. Smaller objects detached from it and surrounded the drone. For 20 seconds, the drone hovered motionless. Then the feed collapsed into static. The mission was never acknowledged publicly. 3 weeks later, the entire region became a permanent exclusion zone. The reclassification. In late 2024, a classified document briefly leaked onto a secure server before vanishing. Its title was short: Submerged Non-Human Infrastructure, Reclassification Order. Inside was one chilling conclusion: these objects are not visitors. They exhibit long-term operational behavior consistent with permanent habitation. Not travelers, residents. It predates industrial civilization. It predates recorded history. And it may predate humanity itself. If this feels real to you, don't leave yet. Subscribe now, turn on notifications, and comment below if you believe they're already here. Because what comes next is no longer a theory. It's a warning. The whistleblower, Ethan Cole, broke his silence 8 months later. Under strict anonymity, he described what happened after his collapse on board the destroyer. He said, "They showed me footage I was never supposed to see. Multiple objects moving in formation beneath the ship. They weren't curious, they were positioned." When asked what they were watching, he answered, "Our nuclear systems." Certain deep-sea coordinates, he revealed, have been under continuous monitoring since the Cold War. When asked why, his voice dropped. He said, "Those aren't entrances, they're exits. Ancient witnesses." Long before sonar and satellites, ancient civilizations recorded encounters with rising lights from the sea. Polynesian legends spoke of gods that rose from the deep. West African myths told of iron spirits from the waves. Greek sailors feared regions where the sea opened and closed. Medieval logs described wheels of fire rising from black water. These stories were never about the sky. They were always about the ocean. The global pattern. When researchers overlaid 60 years of sonar data with ocean floor geology, an unmistakable pattern emerged. Every anomaly aligned with deep sea trenches, subduction zones, geothermal hotspots, thinned crust, high-energy fault lines. Every location ideal for power, concealment, structural anchoring. If a non-human civilization wanted to hide on Earth, the ocean would be the perfect refuge. The fisherman and the fleet. Late 2024, South Atlantic. A civilian fishing vessel detected dozens of fast-moving contacts beneath its hull. Moments later, the sea began to glow blue and violet. Then the water swelled. 13 smooth objects rose from the surface. They hovered in silence. Then they accelerated straight upward, together, as a fleet. The crew was detained within hours, their gear seized, their story dismissed publicly as a hoax. But fragments of their sonar logs leaked. The pattern matched military encounters exactly. What the military truly fears. Publicly, officials repeat, no known threat. Privately, assessments say the opposite. These objects ignore gravity, ignore pressure, ignore propulsion, ignore interception. No weapon can match them. No nation can challenge them. Which leads to a single terrifying conclusion. We are not observing them. They are observing us. Our submarines, our nuclear weapons, our communication networks, our cities. The last transmission. Earlier this year, a classified transmission briefly leaked before being erased. One line escaped. Contact originated below thermocline. Depth exceeds survivability. Not human, not mechanical. 20 seconds later, the vessel lost all propulsion. The crew survived. The explanation never came. Why now? Why are these encounters increasing now? 3 internal theories dominate briefings. Disturbance. Humanity is shaking the seafloor. Exposure. Our technology is finally detecting them. Or activation. Something dormant is no longer dormant. And dormant systems only activate when conditions change. The most terrifying theory. Some believe the objects harvest energy. Others believe they monitor nuclear activity. But the most disturbing theory suggests this, that these entities are not explorers, they are caretakers. And caretakers intervene when a species becomes too dangerous to itself. Final scene, the awakening. We search the skies for alien life. But what if the first non-human intelligence we encounter does not come from above, but from below? What if the oldest civilization on Earth never left? It simply waited, beneath miles of crushing pressure and eternal darkness, watching humanity rise, watching us split the atom, watching us poison oceans, watching us wake it. Because something is moving beneath the waves, something ancient, something intelligent, something that does not belong to us. The ocean is no longer silent, it is awake, and soon it may rise. New leaked coordinates surfaced last week, the location of what analysts believe is the largest underwater structure ever detected. Governments are now preparing contingency plans, not for contact from space, but for contact from below.